today we have a topic about employment and payroll tax audit. I know you will say that, oh, what's so important about that? Let me tell you, this payroll tax area of audit is the most often audited area for small businesses. Unless you don't have a payroll. But even if you don't have a payroll, you could still end up being audited for that because they believe that you should have it, but you didn't have it. So let's just see what I have in storage for you. Prior to start with this webinar, and I want to introduce to you about our website. Our website, communitycpa.com, and you can see what's trending, and it's also see what our services are. And you probably notice that we are just a regular CPA firm with CPA firm services. And if you want me to say that, what's the difference between Community CPA and the other CPA firm next door to me? I'll tell you the difference is that Community CPA is not a firm that bought somebody else becoming Community CPA. We grew ourselves from one client, $1 to today over 10,000 clients. And if it is not because we are good, and we won't be here on the market for the past 27 years. So with that said, you come over to our website, you can make an appointment with us right here. If you're our client, you also have your portal access. Of course, you can always support us, rewarding us by paying your invoice online so we don't go through any phone calls, and it is just taken care of. Of course, YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel for a long time. Our YouTube channel is Community CPA. You type Community CPA, you'll find us. Subscribe to our channel so you know every time we talk about something, and if it is related to you, and you know how to to get on to listen. One interesting thing about our webinar, we don't just do webinar for the sake of webinar. And we do our webinar because you have asked those questions. A lot of times, if the small business owner asks one question, and it's probably your question too. So it's very relatable. It's very real. It is what is going on the market that triggers us to do certain webinars. For example, and when we have heard news about, the bank in the West Coast went belly up, and how the Fed's trying to save them, the impact they have on the FDIC insurance, all of that. So we put out a webinar to talk about FDIC insurance. So if you come over here, you type over here, and to say that FDIC, I'll just simply type that. It will come up with all the things we talked about. So these are the places we come in relevant. And we grew from small business, and so we understand how our small business owners are thinking. And we do it with your understanding and your ways of learning. You don't have to be here at 3 p.m. on Tuesday or Saturday. You can go to our YouTube channel to check us out. All right, so now let's go ahead with our presentation that we planned for you. And today's topic, it is employment and payroll tax audit. And with that said, introducing myself, my name is Ying. I am the managing partner and the CEO at Community CPA. And we are a full regional, full-service CPA firm. And believe it or not, collectively, we speak 9 different languages. Yes. So we don't really, we don't need privacies here because we can speak different languages when we talk to the people, want to talk in the different languages. And, we have our staff, when they speak English as a second language, to us, it's an asset. We don't see people, we don't see you as a liability. So if you speak second language, and if you're interested in growing your career at Community CPA, apply to our job. It's on our website. You can find the career page, and you can send in your information. We are hiring all the time. We have never come to a time and say, oh, we don't need anybody anymore. No, the growth of our client is bigger than the need of the staff we have. So we always have the need to attract and hire and smart people to join the team. And we love you speak second language. So I also have a book I wrote in 2019. That book is called Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. And 8 a.m. is the first book, teaches you how to start up a business. And I wrote the second book already. It is with the publisher to be published. It is called Appointment with Ying at 10 a.m. So you grow your business. And I am writing the 2 p.m., which merger acquisition, then 6 p.m., retiring from your business. Trust me, I don't have any clue about 6 p.m. yet because I'm not there myself, but I only want to write it when I am mentally there so I can offer the new way of thinking about retirement. It's not the same concept like what we had before anymore. Now, no responsibility disclaimer, folks. Yes, we don't have a responsibility in terms of the content we give you right here. It is a free education, and if you really are serious about engaging us to help you with an audit, and you want to come to us and get into a audit engagement with us, then we take care of you. But otherwise, just be really sensitive to what you learn on the internet. It may not be right. Maybe the time is already past. The rule can change. The law can change. The new court cases coming up and it changes the interpretation of certain clause. There's so many changing things, right? The president can change too. So each one of them come around has a different agenda on taxes. So all of these give us one thing for sure, change. And with that in mind, you always want to be in contact with the CPA firm that is at full front to make interpretation of the rules and guide you on the right path, right? Community CPA is the one. All right, what are the common audit? Let's just quickly go through all the audit. When you are in business, and you have to know you will be audited. I say you will be audited because you will. And there is no way for some business goes, oh yeah, I just have to prepare. I will never be audited. No, don't even plan that, because when you think of you're never going to be audited, then your work style, your compliance, it's going to be one niche lower because you are thinking that you're never going to be audited. When you always be so alert and knowing that I could be audited, let's do it right, that helps you. If you really want to grow a business, you want to pass audit like passing exams. It's really no difference. So income tax is an audit, and those are normally people who care about your expenses. Oh, no, you cannot deduct that. Or yeah, you can deduct that. So those income tax audit. Sales tax, use tax audit. Those are state auditors coming in to make sure you paid sales tax. Federal Department of Labor audit. These are workers' human right audit. They want to make sure that they got paid overtime. They want to make sure that as an employer, you're not taking advantage of people who doesn't have status. They don't care about the worker has social security number or not. They want you to treat them just like American. They have the same work right. As long as you hire them, you need to treat them the same, even though they don't pay taxes, or even though you're paying taxes for them. And that's really not the way it's supposed to be done. And just know, as long as you hire people, Department of Labor has a right to come to make sure that your worker is totally treated fairly. Employment tax audit, classification audit. This is IRS audit. I haven't really seen that a lot before. I would say 20 years ago. I don't think I saw many, maybe one or two sporadically, but nowadays it's very often because as a business owner, when you are not doing payroll, you are walking away a lot of dollars. You're walking away almost 16% of that expense you're supposed to pay and you didn't. So let me explain to you why that is. So of course, if you don't have payroll and then you make more money. But if you have payroll, you pay Social Security, Medicare as additional expenses for employer. Sometimes small business felt like they couldn't afford. Okay, so that is IRS classification audit. Bank Secrecy Act, which is a audit for how you're handling money. Wired money, cash money deposit, and that's a treasury. IRS treasury would audit you. That is on the rise. A lot of audit related to that. Of course, pandemic-related compliance audit. SBA could come in to audit you for PPP and RRF, all of that, right? SBA can come, IRS can come. So those are pandemic-related audit. So why am I saying the payroll audit, it is the most audited area for small business owners? Let's understand what's payroll audit. What is payroll tax, right? So right now, the payroll taxes include Social Security, Medicare, am I right? And the withholding. The income tax withholding is kind of belongs to the employee. So if you pay employee $1,000, you withhold income tax for $200, then they only get net check of $800, not considering Social Security, Medicare. But Social Security, Medicare, 6.2% for Social Security, the employee will pay out of their paycheck. So that's their portion. Okay, 1.45% is a Medicare that is out of the employee's paycheck. So your employees would have to put in 7.65% total out of their paycheck. So if they got a $1,000 paycheck, they pay for withholding tax. They also need to pay $745 for Social Security, Medicare total. Okay, so that is out of their portion. But the employer, the boss who hired that employee, need to match to Social Security, Medicare. So total become almost 16%. So half of it is paid by the employee, but the other half paid by the employer. So if you just count on employer's portion, it is 1.45 plus 2.9. No, it's 1.45 plus 6.2. So it's a 7.65. That is the extra. So let's make it simple, 8%. That is the extra taxes you have to pay to every dollar you pay to your employee. So that is what the government aftering. They want to make sure, and you're not running away from that 8% taxes you're supposed to pay. So they want to audit you to tell you that, oh, that John Smith, no, not independent contractor. That John Smith is a W-2 employee. So you ended up have to pay more taxes on that. So now to summarize, payroll is the most audited area because it is small business have a trouble to handle payroll, right? The state can audit you, workforce can audit you, and then you also have workers' compensation insurance company would also audit you. They also want to make sure you classify the worker right because they provide workers' insurance, okay, workers' compensation insurance. And IRS audit you because reclassification and all of that 941 IRS audit you, and the Department of Labor audit you. See how many government has a dip in your pot, and yeah, it is the most audited area. Now, so IRS and the workforce, and these audits are actually coming in to the same principle. They want to make sure that when you are hiring independent contractors, they are not your employee. So they have a right to know that how do you pay your independent contractor? You go by hours. And there you go. They would say that that's your employee if you do by hours. And a big guideline related to whether this person is independent contractor or it is an employee, it is related to your company. For example, if you're a drywall company and you just put up drywalls, and then you have people who work on putting up drywall, that's your principal business, right? So people you hire, they should be your employee, not your independent contractor, because that's your principal business. But of course, if you are a restaurant and you have the custodian comes in at night to deep clean your restaurant, and cleaning is not your business, right? You're a restaurant. So that cleaning crew you have could be an independent contractor. So you got that? So those are the huge classification principles that you will see. And I want to give you an example of how they, if they decided that you're wrong, and these are subcontractors, independent contractor, all should be employee, and then they will assess you. They will turn the independent contractor lump sum into a payroll. And then on that payroll, remember, you have to pay Social Security, Medicare, that employer portion. That is about 8%, my dear. So say you have $500,000 on independent contractor payment. 8% of that, that's a $40,000 Social Security, Medicare you owe to the government. So the government do assess you. And in fact, right here, I actually have an assessment. And from an audit resulted in this assessment. So you can tell that if you look at the top, this is 2018 workers' compensation and 2018 officer compensation. Okay, wages, that $527,770, it is all independent contractor amount. But they made adjustment to the tax. If you follow that column and go down, you see Social Security, Medicare, $56,000 total, right? Then they also charge you unemployment. That's the employer should pay. And the income tax withhold. You, of course, did not withhold, but there is a minimum requirement for you to withhold. So your employee is going to get paid more because some of the money you should withhold and you didn't. So look at that. Your tax total plus penalty. And this is $115,892.87 just for wrong classification of independent contractors versus employees. So it's not a small dollar amount, folks. So this is actually a worksheet that IRS provided to articulate how they charge. So they're not shy of charging your penalty because they think that you're supposed to know. And of course, doesn't mean that once you get this and you ended up paying for it, and if you don't agree, you can go through appeals. You can engage Community CPA to help you to lower that dollar amount and figuring out of the $527,000 independent contractors payment, which one is true independent contractors and which one is a little bit flexible in terms of classification. Then you just launch a debate with IRS auditors. Hopefully you can convince them, and then they would go with your classification, right? And it is always good to really get the classification down before you even start paying them. And you can always hire professional firms like Community CPA or your attorney to make that classification for you first. And then you go by their decision. That would be a better proofs for you when you accidentally getting audited. Then you go, oh yes, I have this one. And my CPA firm or my attorney had already determined this individual, this company is not an employee and they are qualified to be an independent contractor. You may ask me that, oh Ying, but you didn't tell me, why is an independent contractor cheaper? Of course cheaper, right? Because they don't pay Social Security, Medicare, you don't need to withhold, and you pay them 1,000, your expense is 1,000. But if they are employee, you pay them 1,000, your real expense is 1,200 because you have to add Social Security, Medicare match, you have to add workers' comp, you have to add unemployment insurance, all of these things together, you are paying $200 more for every $1,000 up there. All right. So you might say, okay, now I understand that, but what triggers me getting audited? Is it because just because my firm's name, my company name look weird? And how did they decide to audit me? And the most common audit you are getting, it is not about you, it's about your employee. Disgruntled worker. So somebody truly believed you're doing it wrong. You're cheating on the employee. You're taking advantage of these people. And they're slaved over what you need them to do. And you don't pay overtime. And you don't give them a break. And you're just, you're just diminishing their right as a worker. So your unhappy worker would call the government, tell them that we're mistreated, we're underpaid, and please come to save us. Then the government will come. So most of the DOL, Department of Labor audit right now I see are reported by internal folks. And occasionally maybe reported even by the competitors that you have out there, right? So, but in any case, we don't, we're not going to be concerned with who reports you. You're in business, so anybody can report you, right? But what we want you to do is to clean up your house and do it right. If you do it right, why are you even worried? And it's not that hard to do it right. You can find Community CPA to really plan that for you so you do it absolutely right. You button down your buttons and you'll be correct, whatever you do. You can hire other attorneys to be your backbone so you know that you do it right, especially if you're successful, folks. If you are coming from small business background, I know you were making $1 and every penny counts and you try to do everything yourself. But once you know you are growing, folks, the only dollar you want to invest really generously is with your attorney, with your CPA. Because those are the people who will safeguard you. When you come up with an audit, you're not going to lose your sleep. Our client, when they get through audit, they don't lose their sleep because we know exactly what they are doing and we can take care of them. And you can't stop government to audit you. They have a budget to fulfill. And I mean, in this budget, in Biden's budget, there's $300-some billion need to come out of the audit from the taxpayers. So what do you expect? So they need to audit, okay? And, we talked about that if you're not sure whether your people is a contractor or employee, you can always fill out the form called SS-8 to determine of worker status for purposes of federal employment tax and income tax withholding. When you do that form, of course you don't need to pay anybody for that service. You can do that yourself, but I will just tell you that it takes time. So you want to do that early, do that soon if you want to do it yourself. IRS also have a 20-factor test for you to do. If you go on irs.gov, you type in 20-factor test for independent contractors. Then it will give you, and you look at those 20 and to determine whether your folks should be an employee or contractor, okay? So all the business, prevention against payroll audit is a key for all businesses, for all of the business. And, someone should be working as an employee. You cannot be running a business, absolutely have no employee. Then what are you running? You're saying that it's all independent contractor? No. If you have a business, someone needs to get paid to do the work. Maybe that is yourself, so you don't pay yourself. Then you are a owner, right? You're a business owner. You work in your business. That is understandable. You don't pay yourself. But if you are saying that, oh no, I have a W-2 job somewhere else, this business is a side business and, nobody worked there. It just grew by itself. It's not possible, right? So you want to make sure that it's reasonable when people look at your business. To hire, they must be employee if their skill is in line with the nature of the business. Just like at Community CPA, we hire accountant. You can't be go around hiring accountant on independent contractor. No. But I know you heard a lot of companies, a lot of professional firms, they hire people overseas, right? They farm out their job to India, China, who knows where, and then to reduce the cost. Community CPA, we do not do that. We do not farm out our job elsewhere. So those people, when they farm out the job outside of a country, it is an independent contractor, but they don't need to fill in 1099 and EC like when you are in the country. So they need to do a different form to control those outside of country workers. And we believe that the clients, as long as our client is in the country, and our service should be done by people in the country. And I believe that chemicals, and I believe that is ultimately offer the most accurate services. So, that just on the side. And if you do hire people overseas and know that you don't need to issue 1099, but you need to fill up other forms. If you just type foreign worker on our YouTube channel, you will find the webinars I talked about those things. Have all of your contractor, if you have to hire independent contractor, have all of your contractor present to you his or her business, like business registration, insurance, contact, name card, right? And then you want to pay them by jobs, but not by hours. All right. So now you say, wow, Ying, this is a lot of information. Sounded like I am going to run payroll because I at least need to run payroll for myself. So then you will say, okay, I will do payroll. How do I do it? You can obviously do payroll by yourself. Do it yourself, and you can go online and to subscribe to those big payroll company like ADP, Paychecks. They're famous and they have their system. You can go in and do your paychecks, right? But how is those big payroll company works? And I will give you the biggest difference for ADP versus small company, small payroll processing firms like Community CPA. We process payroll. And the difference between ADP and the Community CPA is that when you run a payroll on ADP, you run on the day one, all of your taxes that is not due yet, it will be drawn out of your bank account. So let's say your state tax is due quarterly, your federal 941 is due quarterly, and then you run payroll in January, they will take the money for the whole time already. In fact, this fund that you have just need to go out on March 15th, don't need to go out in January. But if you run with the large company, they take all your money, and so they will use your money for other investment purposes at the same time, and they hold on to your money. When March comes, they pay March. When April comes, they pay April. But in Community CPA, we don't touch your money. So we run your payroll, so you got your net pay. But when the taxes is due at a certain time, the money will go out before that. We don't take your money because we're not going to be custodians for your funds. And we don't have that kind of facility to put your money in some account, then doing things, and we're accountant. So we're very accurate in terms of when your money should go out. So for small business, when you are playing with your cash flow, and then you should be with a local CPA firm and don't sign up with a big company because they are not cash flow friendly. You have to have so much money sitting there so they can take it and you don't miss it. Otherwise, you're like, oh no, I want my $2,000 and it's not due until March. I want it. You can't have it. So that is the biggest difference when you talk about big franchise payroll processing versus and a local CPA firm that you can run to pick up your paychecks and stuff, or you can get your paycheck emailed to you. We also do direct deposit, but we don't take all your money from you like that. All right. That is how small CPA firm like Community CPA works. Cash flow is our key. We consider your cash flow. And the employee, small business, our employee changed their mind like baby changed diapers. One day they had 6 dependents, next day they had 4 because the ex-husband took another 2. It's just like there's so many things with the employees, and every time when you make those changes, if you'd be with a large company, they will be like, no, too late. We cannot make the changes. But when you with smaller firms and, with a community CPA, as long as we submit your taxes yet, your report yet, it always can be changed, right? And then, of course, you want to considering, do you really have the bandwidth to go online to run your payroll? Because ADP not going to run your payroll. What they do is they have you go online to put in all your payroll, and then they just processing it, pay taxes for you 3 months later. So if you are not really good with, knowing when to get online to get things done, and you just want to send a text or email to folks so people can run your payroll, obviously you're looking at a local firm, okay? All right, so that is related to our small business owners' lifestyle. And I mean, when you are small, you're really, really, you're really, really not trouble-free. When you are small, you have a lot of things. And just like you're a baby, and a baby just had a lot of care we need to do. So, but when you become adult, and of course it's easier, so those are larger company, right? But when you are still a baby, a new company and a growing company, and it's under $10 million, and you have a lot of special things that need to communicate with, I would never recommend people to go on 1-800 number kind of service, because you need a real person. You really need people just like how you know me, okay? And I hope this webinar offers you some insight in terms of how we should be dealing with our payroll. And remember, we are your resources. And if you need payroll services, come to us. And we provide payroll service. We can direct deposit your payroll checks. We can send your payroll checks out by email. You can print it from your printer. We can also have you with a portal to log into the portal, do your payroll, like you do that with ADP. The only difference is when you call is a real person who answers your call, right? And Catherine at communitycpa.com. It is our master in terms of knowing what's the market need. And Catherine can close her eyes and knows, what people is asking question, because she hears us. She hears the client, okay? And you can also call our phone number, and we open 6 days a week, folks. 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. All right, I will talk to you again, and hopefully this webinar give you some thinking of payroll services with Community CPA. Bye-bye.